Google I/O 2013 is almost to an end, and it's been a great 3 days of a lot of sessions and a great keynote, some surprises, some disappointments. Hopefully I'll be able to wrap up a lot of this and let you guys know how things are. Definitely check out the article that Jaradoc put on the XDA portal, and go ahead and get in some of the details, some of the exciting things that I found at Google I/O.
This episode of XDA Developer TV is brought to you by the XDA DevCon. Join us August 9th through 11th in Miami, Florida, a conference for developers by developers. More information available at www.xda-devcon.com.
The first thing you'll notice is that the lines at the keynote was really long. You got into the building, and the first thing you had was to stand in line to get in the building. Then you get through registration. Then to get to the keynote, you had to stand in line. So basically, the first day, just be expecting to sit in lines all the way up till the keynote. After the keynote is done, a lot of people just go have lunch and then start going into the sessions, and that's when a lot of the main exciting things happen. What they did this year, though, is that they did give out some hardware. They didn't give out any Nexus devices as they were anticipating, or a lot of people anticipated. They did give out a Pixel, and they put that at 2 o'clock right after the keynote. So a lot of people ended up basically skipping the first sessions because the keynote went too long, and then there was lunch, and then they wanted to pick up their hardware. Those are just mostly just formalities and everything. The great hardware, the Pixel is a very nice development hardware, and they also give us a little Andy. There was obviously the after party, and I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of the pictures that went on and a lot of the exciting things, and Billy Idol and all of that good stuff. That part was really nice. It was still held at the same place as the conference, so most of that stuff always happens in the same building. You didn't actually have to leave. Ground floor didn't have anything. The second floor and the third floor did have some developers. On the second floor, Google took most of the interfaces. So you had Google Wallet, Google the AdMob services, Google Glass, integration of Google with the Mercedes-Benz. You also had the Google Blimp that was flying over and doing a live cast, so if you got a chance to look at that, that was also a very nice thing. And then of course there was sessions going on all around the second floor. So when you start talking to people and you start looking around, you notice that there are some people that maybe you wouldn't think of showing up at a Google conference. One of which was Leap Motion. I was surprised to see Leap Motion showing up there. They were demoing their hardware to some people, and then as well there was a jump space type of a game based on motion detection, that where you stand in front of it and then you activate it and you play. Project Shield was there, and NVIDIA was showing off the hardware. You were able to play some games, you were able to go in there. I wasn't able to get in some of the settings menu to see some of the specifics, but the hardware looked like pretty much production level hardware. They gave us some card information regarding pre-orders. I'm sure you guys have already heard about that. Tried asking questions as far as what happens with third-party games, like games that weren't designed to work with Project Shield. You don't have the ability of basically setting custom key gestures on the gamepad itself to be able to play third-party games. Sure, that's not going to be a big problem once the hardware is available and people are able to use it. It's going to be something that people can fix. So if you definitely pick up one of those, don't be turned down by that. There's some Tegra 4 hardware that was demoed as well, also on one of the other booths. But the nice thing that they also showed, now at the keynote they showed a game called Racer, which essentially required multiple different devices running Chrome and then a game running, and then you're able to tap the screen and launch one of those push racers kind of game. They demoed that on it. The other thing that I noticed that was a very nice thing that I didn't get a chance to do right away at the beginning, but the last day I was able to get my hands on one of the Google Glass units. There was long lines for Glass. Now the keynote didn't cover anything on Glass. There was some sessions set up for Glass, but as far as interface and talking to developers, there was a Glass booth on the second floor. That was pretty much the only way you can get there, and the lines were long for people to just hold it. There was an area for developers and an area for end users at Google that are able to allow you to wear the Glass, and I'll show you some videos on that part. The Glass units are very light, they're very easy. I'm sure if you already have a piece of, if you already own one of the Explorer Edition Glass units, you definitely know exactly how great it is. I used it, I tried to look through, and one of the only thing that I noticed is I wear glasses on a daily basis. So a lot of my videos, you guys don't see my glasses, but when I put on the glass after taking off my glasses, and since they don't have prescription inserts at this point yet, or they're, according to what they say, it's in the baby stages of developing prescription glass inserts, those extra pieces that you could put on glass to make them look like glasses. I found it a little bit hard for me to read the display, or the display didn't look as crisp as the end user, the Google representative let me know. She explains to me how it is. We fitted it, we tried, I took some pictures and I'll show those to you guys. The other thing I wanted to find out is at the end of the keynote, and I'm not sure a lot of people were watching the keynote to that point, there's somebody that came on at the end of the keynote and asked the question of, what is that sensor that's sitting in the Google Glass that looks straight to your eye? And when you look at Google Glass from the outside, you can't see it because it's sitting on the almost at the edge of the glass. So if you're looking at my glasses and these were Google Glass, will be sitting here. And I was able to look closely to that, and obviously they didn't answer it at the I/O keynote. They skipped the question. And according to the end user and the developer, that's basically a proximity sensor. It's for glass to know that somebody's wearing them. It is not a monitoring or some type of a gauge device that looks at it, pretty much like a sensor. It was just interesting that somebody would throw that question, making it look like, Google's trying to look at you. But in a sense, it's just like trying to optimize the use of glass. Other than that, it was a great experience having to be in there. The sessions, I found that they were a little congested. There was a lot of people that tried to go in after after the sessions were full. 45 minutes on average per session was pretty good. Some of the demos that they did at the sessions were very nice. I liked the interaction that the developers were there. They were letting people, ask questions and work with people as far as getting answers. So it's very dedicated to developers. So definitely, if you're not a developer and you're not looking into learning and expanding and trying to understand some of these new features that Google announced at the keynote, it's going to be a little bit hard to focus, and you'll find it very boring once the keynote is done. The other thing that I would definitely recommend doing is look at some of the videos that were posted. Not all the sessions were, but some sessions were live casted as well as recorded and posted again. So Google's going to post a lot of their videos online to be able to try and look at them and watch them over again. Check them out, see what you think. That will kind of give you a gauge of what's the main meat of Google I/O. The keynote ends within the first few hours of the first day. After that is basically sessions, and the vendors or the booths that are there were very interesting. I feel like there wasn't enough, only because now obviously Google's going to promote all of their stuff. So the second floor was Google stuff, but on the third floor you found a small hand of developers. They showed off the Google sign-in option, so they had different vendors that were supporting that already. They had obviously there was a big display section of I want to say maybe 30-40 pixels connected to each other, one upside the other, and then you had an interactive display running. That was kind of nice. But again, some of the hardware and like Samsung wasn't there. I didn't see any OEM phone developers there. They didn't have any answers as far as no recognition of what Android 4.3 is, no recognition as far as why there was no point. So I talked to some of the other people there. They just said this was basically an update to all of our software, all of our APIs, all of our interfaces that we're trying to provide the developers to provide a better experience on Android. So it doesn't mean 4.3 is not coming. It just means it wasn't going to be announced at I/O 13.
Okay, so this is the final day of Google I/O, and a lot of the sessions are starting to end. And I just finally got a chance to get my hands on one of the Google Glass units. It is very nice. Definitely worth coming in and working with and going to some of the sessions here. So I'm sure the glare in the glass is not helping me. So hope you guys are having a good day, and see you guys next week.